Hi. Here are 3 options for hip cars. Again, this is the practice of taking, in this case, the hip through its greatest pain-free range of motion daily. This is what keeps the hips greased and mobile. The first one is standing. Now, the object of this is get the hip to move without any other parts of the body participating. So for this purpose, we're going to keep the body stiff and tight. We're going to create tension to help the other body parts stay in one place while just the hip moves. The harder I squeeze my body, the more I can work this hip and the more I can really eke out those last millimeters of range of motion without anything else coming along for the ride. The first one is perhaps the most challenging because the whole body is free to move, so it requires a lot of awareness and a good bit of stiffness. And I'll do these standing. And the way I'll begin is a little bit of flexion here in the front of the hip, lifting that knee, swinging the thigh open, spinning that thigh forward or lifting the heel, kicking that heel back, and then coming back to meet the knees, and then reversing. And I'll show from the front. Here you have me holding on to an object. You can hold on to a door frame, a mantle place, anything that can help you stabilize. So here I'm going to shut a door behind me with my heel or push a box across the floor, open the whole shebang off to the side. Then I'm going to rotate that thigh open, scoop that heel forward as I lift the knee towards my armpit. Thinking about clearing a fence here, barbed wire fence. And I'll swing back across and down. Again, for standing, everything creates tension in the body. Just this hip moves. We're going to crisscross applesauce. One leg sweeps in front of the other. Serve yourself T on the inside of that foot or the inside of that heel. So a little lift of the knee, a little rotation of the thigh, trying to get that teacup up to your hand. Now we're going to swing this thigh open like a barn door. Belt buckle stays facing forward. When I run out of room, that's my cue. I'm going to keep this knee high and back and spin that thigh forward, lifting the heel to the ceiling. From there, I'm going to shut a door behind me with my heel, right? Or push a heavy box across the floor, making sure that I stay nice and tall in the torso and that I'm not folding forward or overarching in the back to accomplish that task. Stiff as a board in the rest of the body, so pushing that box across the floor. And then I bring my knees to kiss, and then I reverse. Whole shebang off to the side. Rotate that thigh open as I pull my knee up to my armpit. Right, so I'm clearing a barbed wire fence. Swing it back across, kick down, and done. I'm going to take you down here with me for option number 2, which is from the chair. Okay. These can also be done from the chair. So what I'll do, I like to sit in my chair sideways. It gives me something to hang on to. Additionally, I can have a tabletop or a wall or another surface to stabilize the other side of my body. So these are a good option. If the standing is too much of a challenge or you just want to do these from sitting, this is a good option because you can see I'm a little bit more locked down, particularly if I squeeze this side of the chair and hold onto a tabletop or a wall with this hand. I've taken some of the moving parts out of the equation and I can really focus on giving that work to this hip. And the movement's going to be the same, okay? Take a breath in and create tension just to lock my body into the base into place, right? Stay still like a statue everywhere else. I'm going to lift that knee, swing the thigh open like a barn door, belt buckle stays facing forward. Rotate that thigh forward, so I'm going to lift that heel to the ceiling, shove a heavy box across the floor, and then drop that knee on down. And then I'll reverse. Whole shebang lifts off to the side. I'm going to scoop that heel forward, lift that knee, right? Keeping that heel off the ground as high as I can get to the front and set it on down. To show from the side. Here I'm lifting the knee, right? Staying tall on the spine so I'm not crunching my way back. Lift that knee, swing that thigh open. The torso and the rest of the pelvis doesn't follow, just that thigh opens. I'm going to spin that thigh forward to lift that heel. I'm going to try to set my toes down as far back behind me as I can, right, without leaning forward into this. Boom. There we are. Now take a breath in and reverse. Big breath in. Lift the toes up off the ground. Whole shebang opens to the side. And I'm going to rotate that thigh open as I bring that foot forward, lifting the knee as I do, set it back down where I started. That's option 2. Option 3 is from the ground. So you're going to come with me again. I'll nudge you down just a little bit, but not too much. Let's try there. If you have a yoga mat or something comfortable to lie on, that often helps. Here, I have a yoga block. That yoga block is going to be for my neck. It's going to help keep my neck nice and comfortable so that I don't have to hold that up during this movement. Now the position I'm in, I'm kind of in a bit of a fetal position, or like I'm sleeping in bed on my side. I've got a bit of an L shape going on here for the body. And from here, the movement's the same. I might feel this in slightly different muscles because my relationship to gravity has changed. Right now I'm on my side, so gravity's coming down at me this way as opposed to coming down at me this way. So it's good to feel these from several different positions and just give the hip different healthy inputs. But the movement path is the same. So here I am on my side. I can clasp my hands together. I can use the floor to push into. This is all going to help me generate tension in the rest of the body. Breath in. Knee lifts towards chest. Okay, we're getting just the same. That thigh swings open like a barn door, so the whole shebang lifts the ceiling. And I'm going to keep that knee high and up towards my chest as I spin that thigh forward, reaching that heel behind me. Then I'm going to shove a heavy box across the floor with my heel, and then actively pull my knee towards the ground. Good, and I'll let it float forward for a little bit. So give me a chance to take another breath in, and then reverse. Kick a heavy box across the floor. Good. Now that 100-pound box is on top of the shin. I'm going to lift that box up to the ceiling. Good. Another breath in. I'm going to keep that knee high and back. Scoop the heel forward. I'm rotating that thigh open. When I run out of room, that's my cue. Start to lift that knee towards my armpit. And back on down. Excellent. Now remember, CARS is the practice of your greatest pain-free range of motion. So if we run into pain here, we're just going to cookie cut around that. Okay, if I'm lifting my knee, ooh, and I feel a little pinch here, that's okay. We're just going to back out of that range. We're not going to lift quite as high. Let's say I've lifted my knee here, and I'm starting to rotate, and I feel a little pinch in the hip. That's okay. Let's go ahead and drop that knee down a little bit and rotate from there and see how that does, okay? If those are still hurting, don't worry about that rotation. Just start to bring that heel back behind you, right? Explore your greatest pain-free range of motion. Remember, there's some good feedback from the ground, so if I'm feeling my body in the ground, it's going to give me some feedback as to whether the rest of the body is moving around. As I'm moving this hip, this leg, but this hip, where this thigh bone sits inside my pelvis, that's the joint that we're after. As I'm moving this hip, I don't want to feel too much rocking and rolling from my rib cage and my pelvis on the ground. I want to feel everything else pretty heavy and still into the ground, just this hip working. If you do that right, you're going to feel a lot of this tissue around the butt, side of butt stuff, back of butt stuff, some hamstrings, some of this front of hip stuff start to light up as you go. Give it a shot. I'd aim for 4 to 5 repetitions on each side in any of those positions. That's a good target to be able to collect in one go. And let me know how they feel.